がここにいるうちの本物のスクールスポーツのために行こうぜベイビーバンこの国は気をつけて、現実になることがありますからね。
Alright, so this is in fact my post-fight review for Junto Nakatani versus David Cuellar, and your result of the fight is another destructive, another devastating, another impressive Junto Nakatani knockout stoppage victory. The result of the fight is a third round stoppage victory over David Cuellar. So let's talk about it, man. There's not a whole lot to talk about because the fight only went 3 rounds, but I mean, man, fight by fight, you know, moment by moment, punch by punch, Junto Nakatani is becoming a more impressive fighter. You know, this fight was an intriguing fight because, you know, we know in boxing, it's a tale as old as time to never underestimate the unknown Mexican fighter, because that unknown Mexican fighter who you don't think is really anything or anybody, that unknown Mexican fighter can ruin your plans. We've seen it happen so many times where fighters who are the favorites against unknown Mexicans, they go ahead, they go in there, they overlook the Mexican opponent, and the Mexican opponents knock them out. And, you know, Cuellar had a good record on paper. He was 28-0. He was the tallest fighter Junto Nakatani had fought to date. And on top of that, Cuellar is a fighter that, you know, if you went and you watched some tape on him, he does have some punching power. He can crack, right? So it was an intriguing fight in the sense of, you know, Junto hasn't fought, you know, a fighter as young and as big as Cuellar, and then you factor in that he's a Mexican fighter, so that always makes things kind of very interesting with Japanese fighters dealing with the Mexican style. And then, you know, just the pressure of having to keep winning, because now Nakatani's now in that position that Dave Benavidez was in when he was getting linked to fighting Canelo, where now he has a bigger microscope on him every time he fights. So he has to continue to look impressive, fight in and fight out. But just to dissect the 3 rounds, Cuellar, I thought he was trying his best to close the gap on Junto. He landed some decent shots here and there. He did show that he had a solid left hook. But again, as I've stated in many of my other Junto Nakatani videos, Junto Nakatani does a great job, and he's getting better and better as time goes on at fighting off that long, rangy frame out of the southpaw stance. So a lot of times Cuellar would close the gap, and Junto would just pin him. He would pin him with that lead right hand. You know, if Junto got a combination off, he'd make sure on the way out, if he decided to step back, he used the right hand to pin Cuellar and make him fall just short. So he understands how to use all the inches of his reach advantage in his favor. And I really think it was really interesting because Cuellar started to have a little success in round 3, and when the minute he started to open up in round 3, that's when Junto Nakatani dropped him to the canvas for the first time in his career. And when he got back up, he was back on the canvas again within like 3 or 4 seconds, and that was it. He didn't beat the count. Junto Nakatani runs his record up to a now very impressive 30-0 with 23 knockouts. And you know, look, we know that the big fight for Junto is the Inoue fight, the Naoya Inoue fight, the Super Bowl of Japanese boxing. But there's still a lot of really good fights here in the bantamweight division. You know, I've talked about the fact many times. I've talked about at length, ad nauseum, about the fact that all the champions in this weight class at this moment in time are from Japan. And, you know, you got Seiya Tsutsumi, you got Yoshiki Takei, you got Ryosuke Nishida. And now it looks like we're going to get those some of those unification fights start to happen now, because it was after this fight was done, you know, you had the IBF champion Ryosuke Nishida in the ring with Junto Nakatani, and he called for the fight. He called Junto out, and it looks like that's the route they're going to go. So we're going to get a WBC IBF unification fight. Now, the funny thing about this fight is, like, when you look at Nishida on paper in comparison to Junto, he looks like a can. Like, honestly, like, he's 10-0 and he has 2 knockouts. So if you're just going on paper, his record on paper doesn't compare to the 30-0 with 23 vicious knockouts from Junto Nakatani. But if you've seen Ryosuke Nishida fight, you know that he punches harder than those 2 knockouts on the record would indicate. You would know that he has a lot of craft. You would know that he's a very educated body puncher. And you would know that he's got, you know, good size to the weight class. Junto is 5'8", 270 pounds. at bantamweight with a 68.5-inch reach. Nishida's 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. So the measurables are very comparable. I would say if we're talking about just size and reach and things like that, I think Nishida is probably the most, how do I say, evenly matched fighter in the measurables, on paper, physically speaking. Is Nishida the dynamic puncher Junto is? No, he's not. He's definitely not that. But he's dynamic enough of a puncher, and he focuses enough on that body to where if he can close the gap and he can get near Junto, which is going to be very hard because Junto is so good with that lead right hand. But if he can, it'll make the fight very intriguing. My only issue for Nishida, my biggest concern for Nishida, and in Junto as well, even to a degree, is how long can both these guys make the weight? Because both these fighters are so big for this weight class, and it's not a matter of if, but when is their body going to give out on them, and when will they become weight drained and have to move up to super bantamweight? That's really my biggest concern with both of them. But I think it's a very good fight. I think Nishida is a slept on fighter. I would say if I'm ranking the top bantamweights in the division, I would say Junto is the best. Clearly, I think he's the best. He still has to prove it and beat the other champions, but I think he's the best from a skill standpoint. I would say Nishida and Seiya Tsutsumi are like battling out for the 2 spot. I think Tsutsumi has more with him than Nishida. I think Tsutsumi is more unpredictable. His durability is off the charts. He can box. He's one of the few. He might be the only Japanese fighter that I know of that can box orthodox and southpaw. So he can switch. He can pressure. He can fight at mid range. He does flash some one punch power at times. And his stamina is off the charts. So I think Tsutsumi to me is the second best. With Nishida being a very close at third best, and I think the weakest link out of all of them is Yoshiki Takei, who's a good fighter. I'm not trying to put him down, but I think he is the weakest fighter of the bunch. So Nishida's good. It's not the fight I'd want to see the most of the champions. I would like to see Junto fight Seiya Tsutsumi, who continues to get screwed by the Japanese boxing establishment, which I'm going to talk about in a separate video because it's ridiculous that he gets cheated out of glory and his rightful victories. But I'm not complaining. I can't sit here and spend a whole year complaining about unification fights in the division, and now we're going to get one and complain about it. No, Nishida is a good fighter with a lot of craft. He beat a very good fighter in Emmanuel Rodriguez to become champion, right? And Nishida, I think, is actually probably one of the more slept-on fighters from Japan. He might be, let me see, out of all the champions, he might be like the second most slept-on fighter. He's very good. I think Nishida, regardless of what happens in the Junto fight, I actually think his best boxing will be at super bantamweight. I think he's going to be a big force to be reckoned with at super bantamweight. As a bantamweight, he's cool. Like as a 180 pounder, he's cool. But I think his best work will be in the next weight class. So to me, it's like this Junto fight for him. The way I see it, he's playing with house money. Like if he beats Junto, that's going to shoot him into this other stratosphere. If he loses to him, no one's going to blame him because he's not going to be the favorite. But I think Junto should be stopping Nishida within 9 to 10 rounds, honestly. Junto's just really good all around the board. Footwork, pivoting, volume punching, counter punching, just probing with that lead right hand. He's just really freaking good. I mean, really upper echelon fighter. Rudy Hernandez has that guy firing on all cylinders. He may be from Japan, but he doesn't fight like a traditional Japanese fighter with the textbook regimented Japanese discipline style. No, he's got a lot of different layers you got to work out, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Junto does against a fellow Japanese fighter who also has a lot of layers to work out. She does a very good body puncher. You won't see it in the record or in the numbers, but if you watch them fight, you know what I'm talking about. So that's a good fight. But nonetheless, Junto Nakatani does it again. He's 30-0, 3-division champion, one of the most devastating fighters in boxing. And, Unification is next. So let me know what you guys think. What did you guys think about Junto against David Cuellar? And what do you guys think about Junto Nakatani versus Ryosuke Nishida in the Unification fight? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys click right over here.
Keep watching my boy BT put on the best interviews out here.